Hi, I'm Roma and I'm going to do a little demonstration today about compression. And compression is one of the forces that structures feel when gravity acts on them. So if you imagine that you're walking around, you see a building or a bridge and you see those vertical pillars or columns around, they are supporting the weight of the structure above them. So we're going to do a little demonstration on that today. So I've got some really simple tools here. I've got a few sheets of paper, I've got a couple of books, and I've got some sellotape. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate a column. I'm just going to roll this up and I'm going to tape it together. And this is very similar to the columns that you'll see for structures around your town or your city. And my job as a structural engineer is to calculate the weight of everything that's going onto the column to make sure it's strong enough. So if I take this rather nice looking book here and I put that on top of my column, what we can see is that the column works. So this piece of paper is taking a compression force and it's strong enough to do the job. If, however, I now test it with a much heavier book, let's see what happens now. So I'm going to put this down on here and it just crushes. And that's really when compression has now overwhelmed the structure and it doesn't work. So there's your little tidbit about compression. And I want to tell you a little bit about another force that structures feel, and that's called tension. So if you imagine the Golden Gate Bridge or another big suspension bridge, you've got the deck that the cars are driving over, and that deck is held up by a series of cables, and those cables are basically being pulled down by gravity, and they're feeling tension. So we're going to do a little demonstration of what that looks like. So I've got some string, which I've cut into a long piece, and I'm going to tie my lovely proof copy of Build to this. So I'm just going to wrap the string round and knot it at the back. And the idea is that you imagine that the book itself is the deck of the bridge, and the string is in fact the cables that are holding it up. So here we go. So if I now hold this up, it's a little bit wonky, but that'll do. You've got gravity basically pulling the book downwards, and I can feel that weight in my hand, and this string here, it's taut because it's in tension. Right now, this string is strong enough to hold the weight of this book, so the engineer's done their job correctly, which is great. But let's try the same thing again with a slightly heavier book and see what happens. So I'm just going to carefully lift this rather large book here and see how we go. So that snapped before I could pretty much even lift it up. And what that's telling us is that the tension that this book created in this piece of string was so large that it just snapped the string, and that is not what we want from our structures. So that's tension.